Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Red Sea podcast. Finally, my voice is 100% back, and I can finally go back live and talk about the thing I love. Uh, if you all didn't catch the vlog that I did post up last night, please do go catch it. I argue it's one of the most fun atmospheres I've managed to capture up close. And once again, I am joined by a very special guest. Of course, how are you, Malo?
Hi, my love. I'm doing better. I'm starting to realize what happened on Sunday. I'm starting to get in terms with it and trying to move forward from it. I honestly enjoyed us watching the game together. It was fun. I love the atmosphere as well. Venga, venga. Uh, that got me so off guard. Oh my god. But yes, I'm so happy to be back to talk with you about what happened in that match day on Sunday.
I've said it openly as well. I think Venga Venga was one of the most clever chants I've heard in a while. But yeah, I honestly thought that there was no one better to bring on to look at two very different sides of a derby that honestly, even in the most positive uh, of fans on our side. I don't think expected it to go that well. If I'm not that mistaken in calling back my prediction was 3-1, and even that wasn't even in that I wasn't fully confident. But of course, the game ended 4-1 with a lot of talking points, honestly, on both sides. And I think on my side, the worst thing to start off with is the injury crisis that suddenly appeared. Uh, Chiquinho will be back on Thursday, as we learned yesterday. The most serious injury out of all that appeared is David Carmo, that is going to probably be missing for about a month. Uh, and no real information on the slightly injured Gelson Martins. Uh, so yeah, a win with a cost, per se. Those are my first thoughts, despite the absolute joy I have for finally being top of the table once again. What are your first thoughts about anything and everything that we saw?
Before getting into my own thoughts for my own club, because my club right now, especially fans wise, is a mess. I want to say that the sudden injury crisis that has appeared in Olympiacos, I believe that it's mostly based around the fact that you have a basic starting 11 that's playing every match, Europe, League, Cup. I think that the tiredness and the small injuries are catching up to the players that are not available on Thursday, like Carmo.
It is mainly this pure exhaustion. Yeah, there are some talks about how close Babes Kostoulas is also to being out with an injury, so it is more or less pure exhaustion.
Especially about Bobby Kostoulas, you ought to be careful. It's not like you can manage an injury for that wonder kid you have. But anyways, let's move on from that. Enough Olympiacos talking on the Olympiacos show. Let's talk a bit about AEK. Um, AEK in the stadium appeared very troubled, I'd say. The penalty was given early on by the mistake of Lazarus Rota, but I don't think that was the thing that like cost AEK the game because eventually we equalized. how we entered the stadium in the second half was catastrophic, with conceding a goal in the 46th, I think, no, 47th minute and the 50th minute. Insane. Catastrophical for the team, catastrophical for
49th and 51st.
even worse. Thank you, I love. Catastrophical for the mentality of the team, for everything. The players didn't live up to what they had to do. I feel like they didn't have, they weren't into the atmosphere of the game that they should have been. They should have gotten the game, played the football they know, and finished up like that. But I think that they got confused in the way. I don't know what happened. I really don't. The fans are very unhappy. Everyone is very unhappy. They either blame Matias Almeida, they either blame the players, they either don't know what's happening. Crazy rumors came out after the match because of AEK's loss. Most rumors have been debunked, of course, with the craziest one being Lazarus Rota receiving money to play badly. Swear to God, where are we? So yeah, chaotic situation, I can say.
Yeah, that's just usual Greek media shit. It's not the first nor the last time. And exactly the point that you built into and I wanted to continue. It's like you said that most players, whether it was ego, whether it was inexperience, whether it was the atmosphere, whether it was any reason, I feel like they either got way too quote unquote distracted because of the pressure, uh, or just couldn't really fathom the importance of the game. While honestly, on our end, I was pleasantly surprised to see the complete opposite effect. Going off, of course, one of the most important victories of the season against PAOK, going into this game with an even better and bigger mentality, especially from I think the best shouts I can give is the midfield where we, whether it was expectedly or not, more or less dominated, especially given how we had Christos Mouzakitis and Haralabos Kostoulas that are levels above in pace, not just uh, from the AEK midfield, but from most players that were in. And the much improving Danny Garcia, who is just continuing to embarrass each and every doubter, same as Imbora did last season. But in every aspect of the field, we just saw a team that, in my opinion, we haven't really seen as connected this season. It feels like it's gelling just more and more. Would you agree that it was pressure, or do you think it was something else?
I think I'll mostly stay at the second thing you said about the mentality. I don't think the players had the necessary mental preparation for the game. I feel like they stayed at the Asteras game, which we can't compare the Asteras game to the Olympiacos game, of course. But I don't think either the coach, the players inside of them, they weren't mentally prepared for that game. They didn't know exactly what they were going for, midfield wise, because you mentioned that. For me, I think, and I think for most AEK fans, after the 1-1 in the halftime, and with Tiquinho out and Ese out, and we had like the train of thought was that you have a way more experienced midfield. You have a midfield that knows what it's doing. We knew Mantalos would be out in the second half. He wasn't playing good in the first half. We knew it would be Pineda, Pereira, and Johnson, which is a way more experienced midfield. So we thought that would be better, but that was not the case. I don't know. I won't say that they got outperformed. I think that the Olympiacos squad was in the right play. They had the right peace of mind to control this game. How can I say it? Δεν είδαμε και μπαλάρα, ειδικά στο πρώτο ημίχρονο. In the first half, we didn't see something crazy in terms of football. It was both teams have had their moments, but especially in the second half, Ike was nowhere. Ike was nowhere, and I don't know if it's because of the midfield, because of the attack, because of the defense, which was horrible. Nothing went well. Oh my god.
It was honestly, I'd say, a combination, especially in the second half. The first half, yeah, was relatively calmer. I can recall, of course, through quite a few missed chances, mostly from our side, but of course from your side as well. Uh, but the second half was just a complete bombardment of chances. Of course, the major part of uh, the shape of the game completely changing was El Kabi fully finding his footing and scoring two. Uh, Two goals that were both gifted and unstoppable. Because, as I said, I do believe that the second goal was unavoidable because El Kadi came out of absolutely nowhere. Uh, and I honestly just keep admiring that man and his goal scoring ability even more. And I keep laughing, thinking back to the summer where people were complaining. People from our side were complaining about his renewal, saying that he won't find even 15 goals this season, and he's already on 14, if I'm not mistaken, and we are still on late November. Uh, but yeah, the third goal of Ayub El Gabi was just a complete lapse in concentration from, in my opinion, on your side. The worst defensive performance we've seen all year, and I don't think that's an overstatement, with, as you corrected me, I thought it was a Rota again, but with Johnson just completely like gifting, I won't even say passing, just gifting the ball to Ayub El Gabi, who went through on goal, and when Ayub El Gabi goes through in on goal, 99 out of 100 times he will slot it in, as he did. Uh, and yeah, just then I argue even after the second goal, but especially after that mistake and the third goal, I think your mentality was just done, as we saw with the fourth goal that followed, where Rota just completely gave up the ball to Rodinei, and then Rodinei, with the quality we know he has, he found Zelson perfectly, who slotted it in to a completely empty net. Do you have anything specific to say about the defensive end of Ike's game?
We in the post no in the pre-match, I'm sorry, we the post-match is now. In the pre-match show, I explained to you and I explained to everyone else hearing very I was very detailed about that Ike's attack is based on its left and right back. The attack starts from the left or the right back and moves on forward. Nor our left nor our right back was in a good state of mind on Sunday, so the attack was not happening. The attack was not working. I'm not going to talk about Hadji Safi getting bodied by Zelson being in his pocket, literally in his pocket. Zelson made Hadji Safi disappear on Sunday. So my point is that having an attack that much based on your left and right backs cost I got some terms the game because left and right back not doing their job, neither attacking wise as we saw because only one goal was scored, neither defensively because too many mistakes happened. If you think about it, all four Olympiacos goals came from AEK's mistakes. So I think that I don't think that we don't have the squad for something better. I do believe in the strength of my squad and I do believe in my players. I just feel like they need to take a step back, take a big breath, and realize what they're here for and that they're here to win the league and win the cup and get wins and get derbies and get everything. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course I do. The mentality, of course, will always be the same. Should always be the same at every club. I want to build off the Safi point that you said that Martinez just completely made him disappear, and move on to the other side as well, where we kind of had an opposite effect, as in Martinez performing amazingly against Hadji Safi. Martial, in my opinion, couldn't really do anything with the threat of Rodinei. I don't think that. I think we did kind of say a mix of not expecting, I'd say, the sudden change in quality from the games that Martial has taken part in, and a bit of underestimation of the quality of the league in general. I do want to move on to this point that I hadn't faced a team with the attacking threat we have and the attacking quality we have. As you mentioned in the pre-game as well, you had only conceded 4 goals before the game. Uh, so, do you think that it is also a type of reason of not expectation, as I said, specifically by Martial, but also in general, or is it a combo of that and just the lack of mentality that you mentioned?
Uh, I believe that Martial was outshined everyone on Sunday, in my opinion. He was the best player we had, even if he's 40, 30%, I don't know what it is. He played very well. He was the one that scored, especially when Rodinei went as a left winger at some point in the game. He had all the field to it himself. He was alone the entire time. He didn't have the team to support him though. Um, the problem with Martial is that he doesn't defend. Ike in defending plays with both the winger and the left or the right back, um, depending on the side we're on. So Hadjisafi was basically alone. He was lost. He didn't know what to do. Martial wouldn't go back and help him. So I think that that's what Martial needs to change. He needs to be a bit more defensive. He needs to help the team a bit more. Maybe it's because of the ego. Maybe it's because he didn't play like that in Manchester United. I didn't really watch him in Manchester United. Um, I don't know. We'll need to see. And about the comment, if we were a bit earlier on in the season, I'd say yes, maybe that's it. But I played against PAOK. I played against Aris. At Panathinaikos has a very solid attack with. Oh my God, what's the player's name? Help me, love, please.
Bentancur?
Yes, with Bentancur. Very good center forward. I feel like Ark has faced many teams with good attack, not as good of attack as Olympiacos. Olympiacos has a Jubel Kabi. Olympiacos has the best center forward in Greece right now. But I don't think it was just because of the power that Olympiacos attack has, but just not in the right state of mind. Everything went wrong. Everything, everything, everything.
So you are saying it was a mix, which is fair, even though I do think that, especially focusing on Jubel Kabi, something went wrong in the planning. and I do want to move on to the planning before I keep focusing on some more specific players once again. It's as we discussed in the pre-game that the game would be determined a lot by how both coaches went for it. And while Mendilibar just seemed to hit the bullseye with how he went about the game, not only result wise, but performance wise, and as we had said from the start of the show, mentality wise, it seemed like, as we talked about as well before coming on here, Almeida just sort of lost the plot and was a main reason for this mentality issue that you are putting a lot of focus on. Do you want to go about what you think went wrong coaching wise?
I want to make myself clear. I've said it to you before the show and after Sunday. I'd say a lot of times that I don't doubt um, Almeida's coaching and his.
You said it on the pregame as well.
I said it on the pre-game as well. Great, but but at the pre-game, I didn't know the game would finish 4-1. So now it's a different
Yeah,
story.
yeah, of course, but I am just showing the continuous support of your point.
Yes, yes, yes. Um, and even after the 4-1, I don't doubt how good of a manager he is. I don't doubt his ideology. I don't doubt anything. I just think that he's trying to control a roster with too many players. 25 players is too much for a football team that play in the league and the cup, not even Europe. They are too many. They don't fit in AEK, and what needs to be done in January is some players need to be sold or at least loaned out. I think he tries to manage all of the players. We have very good players, very, very good players. And he tries to use all of them because every single one of them has something to give to the team. But I think somewhere there that he tries to play everyone because everyone has the ability to play. He kind of, how can I say it? The starting 11 is not stable, and so there's no chemistry between the players. They don't know how to play with each other yet because week after week they play with someone different. If you think about it, the only one who stays stable is our goalkeeper and Rota. Honestly,
I've
these two are the
told
only
you
stable
this.
players.
I've told you this many times, and I'll say it here as well. I have said it here as well. I'm pretty sure that I feel like I am sitting there and talking about the Olympiacos for the past like 2, 3 years. I feel like it's the same
Yeah,
exact story.
yeah, we talked about that. That's true. Um, so yes, I think that if like Almeida, Iliopoulos, and Ribalta sit on a table and say, okay, which players do we want to loan out or sell, and figure out who they need and who they don't, it will be so much easier for the team to manage the games and like see every game one by one and perform at 100%. Now that I'm talking all about it, yapping about it at this point, I forgot the question. So did I answer it? I don't know.
Yes, you did.
Okay, that's all I had to say.
Uh, you did say at the start what you thought. Moving back into performances, really. I did want to build off a point that I myself said on the pregame show that, of course, not comparing him to the injured now David Carmo, that Regis would fare just fine with either Levi Garcia or Piero. Uh, and honestly, I I think Regis, it's safe to say that Regis by now is having the best season of his career, which did start ever since the semi-finals last year against Aston Villa. But the consistency he's showing is incredible. But uh, on Sunday, in my opinion at least, he was also covered by a great performing Rodinei, who played the three positions, as you said, moving on to even left wing at some point, and a very, very good Francisco Ortega, who is returning from a long-term injury and hopefully with a mission to prove us all wrong. Uh, and also, I did tell you that at the moment I wasn't that happy with him, but just seeing everything again, Pirola, in my opinion, just covered Carlos gap perfectly as much as he could. Uh, and honestly, I'm happy with about everyone. No real complaints except maybe Masuras, who desperately needs a goal to find form again. Moving on to your side of the subs, though, to build off the coaching point just a bit more. What do you think went wrong, even with the attempt to rescue something from the game? Because aside Pineda, none of the subs really did anything. Of course, Lamela, the worst of them all, just tried to end Rodin's career by crashing his scene. But aside that, what do you think went wrong, even on the attempts to switch something up?
First of all, props to Pineda. I don't know how this man hasn't had like an anger burst with people that are honestly so much worse than him getting the starting position over him. Anyway, he got in. As you can see
aka
him, he's
Roberto Pereira.
yeah, honestly. I honestly I like Pereira for the quality for the brain he has, but he's awfully slow. Awfully slow. He needs someone faster beside him so he can operate correctly. Anyways, you see Pineda, he's all happy in my photo profile, showing his little heart. Anyways, back to the subs. For Piero, I've said it so many times to you, so many times. I don't know why he keeps putting him with Garcia. It doesn't work. That duo doesn't work. Uh, they can't coexist in the same area. They do two totally different things. They can't operate as a duo. They don't give passes to each other. They have a different play style. So Garcia and Piero can't coexist, and that's why we didn't see Piero at all at this derby. I believe that if Garcia was replaced for Piero, I think at least we would have scored the second goal, like it would be a 4-2 or something. Lamela, no comment, honestly. What was that? What was that? Your team needs you and you go and get a red in 10 minutes.
I don't think
I
there has
don't
been a biggest fraud transfer this summer.
No, I'm still waiting, honestly. I'm still waiting.
No, I don't mean that Lamela will just be flopping the fuck off in January, but with the welcome he got in the summer, because you were the one, of course, that was showing me everything as well. And with what
Yeah.
he has given, I'm pretty sure you told me that he has more reds than goal contributions right now.
Yes, he does. He does.
Right now, he's first contender for fraud of the season, and it's not even close with the second.
I think it's him and William together. Uh,
I think it's him and Oliveira, but we didn't really want Oliveira. That's why I'm saying Lamela.
fair. What else? Who else got in? Odubajo came in. I think Odubajo was um, a necessary what was that? Substitution because
Wasn't the 72nd minute a bit too late though?
damage had been done, I guess. Whatever at that point.
It was
I don't
3-1
know.
already, yeah.
Yes, but no, it was 4-1 at that point, I think.
Never mind, it was 4-1.
Yeah, it was because Rota got subbed off when he made the mistake, the final mistake. Um, so yeah, it was needed. Rota couldn't go any longer. You could see it. He was so mentally frustrated that he wouldn't be able to give anything to the team. And Gacinovic, I don't know why he put Gacinovic in. I have no idea. I honestly don't have any idea. Gacinovic in and Pineda as a left back, as we've all seen and loved him so many times. I
I
don't know.
really don't get what
So
Almeida does sometimes. Really.
yeah, so in the end, I understand the I understand the substitution of Pineda and Piero and Odubajo. I really do. I would understand Lamela as well, but he was so bad that I really can't. And I don't get Gacinovic because at the 70th minute you have conceded 4 goals. Gacinovic is not the man that will give you the goals that you want because at this point you need 4 goals to turn things around or three to equalize. Gacinovic is not your man. So I don't know. I guess 3 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5. We are somewhere there.
Yeah, I get that. On our side, as I said, two forced subs that worked out thankfully perfectly, even though I don't think anyone doubted that Pirola and, for me, our best transfer of the year this far, Costinha, would do their part as best as they could. And, of course, uh, Masuras coming in for Gelson Martins, who also, as we learn later, is slightly injured. I think you'd seen my worry as well and my just desperation when Martins also just sat down injured. Uh, and yeah, going back to what we also talked about, I don't think he could have subbed on or needed to sub on anyone else, even though I'd have loved some people to get a rest, but I don't think he could have subbed off anyone else, given that the rest of the subs were Postolopoulos, Doi, Oliveira, Stamenic, and Yaremchuk. And building off of that, with the injuries we of course have, and Zelson missing the game on Thursday, I think Thursday is the last chance. As I said, talking about the 11, I think Thursday is the last chance for people like Velde, people like Oliveira, and people like William to prove themselves. With January fast approaching as well. Because, as you said, I can say that for us as well, we need to bin off some people. Not as bad as you, but we need to bin off some people. I agree with this, and I want your opinion on it. That Almeida doesn't know how to turn a game around on his own management wise, that he needs Ike to take the lead.
Please talk for a sec, because I need to think of a game that Almeida has actually turned the score around. So I need a moment to think about that. Um, so please, my love, go on, say something. I don't know while I think.
Um, take your time. I don't think he has turned the game around. Pretty sure. Uh,
I remembered. Okay, that was fast. I thought I would need more time.
floor is yours.
Thank you. If anyone remembers the year that Ike got the double, we were playing against Ionikos and we were losing until the 70th
Oh,
minute
come
and
on.
we turned that around. What? It was so important for the league. Come on.
It's a game against Olympiacos.
You have lost points against Levadiakos. What do you mean? These
No,
points might cost you the league.
I'm not
What do
saying
you
it's
mean?
a game. I'm saying it's one game that he's done it once.
It's the first one that came to mind. I don't know if there are more.
Still moving to back to important games as well. I'll phrase the comment a bit differently. He
Okay.
can't turn a derby around.
There was no. Okay. If you think about it, there was never a need for a derby to be turned around, except the two times we've played together, and the time we lost against PAOK last year at Tumba, which honestly, um,
Pauk
I'll
led,
say
didn't he? If I remember
yes,
correctly.
he led, and we made it 2-2.
With
It
the
was one,
draw, yes, Pauk led.
yes,
And the draw
yes.
with Aris, I'm pretty sure Aris led as well, no?
Which draw with Aris?
The
The
3-3.
2-2. The
The 2-2,
3-3.
I'm sure. Either or.
The 3-3. The 3-3 wasn't Matthias. The 2-2.
The 2-2, that's what
uh,
I remember, yes, I'm sorry.
with Vida's penalty.
That's what I remember. For some reason, I
I
thought it was
honestly,
3-3. I don't know why.
I can't remember it now, but I honestly
Let me
don't remember who
actually
led.
go check it
Okay,
out
okay.
and you
Yes,
keep going.
please do. But at the PAOK game, where PAOK had actually led, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, he led 2-0, and I turned it around 2-2. Um, the goal that the goals that PAOK scored, the equalizer and the one that gave him the victory, I am mistaken. I did a 1-2 and then PAOK equalized and then won the game. The two goals were player mistakes. This
Aris
match,
did lead.
he did lead. Okay.
Mhm.
The match with Olympiacos was mostly oh my god, what's the word? Καθορίστηκε from player mistakes. It was determined from player mistakes. And the Aris match, was it 2-2 or 3-3 after all?
No, wait, I'm right. It was the 3-3,
3-3.
I'm correct.
Okay, great.
And you did
This
lead, but Aris did end up taking the lead again. So you were behind in the score.
okay. In the 3-3 match where we sooner or later made it 3-2, the 3-3, the equalizer was in the 92nd, 93rd, what was it? Yes, minute.
97th.
97th even was 97th minute, which was a penalty. We are talking about solely play mistakes in these three matches. I don't think it's in the Almeida um, ideology. It's just the players at these moments where these things happen. Okay, they do happen. So I don't know what to say. I think the thing that, if I say something about Almeida, it's not that he can't turn games around, is that sometimes he can't manage games, and we especially saw that last year with the draws against Panserraikos, Kifissia, the draw against PAOK here, the loss to Panathinaikos, the 2-1. Sometimes he just can't keep the score. Like, we can be 2-0 in the 75 minute and it will be 2-2 final. So many points were lost on draws last year, and you know it very well because I talked about it all the time.
Yeah, but it isn't. I think that's more or less the point of the comment as well. That it isn't necessarily that he can turn the game around into a win and you end up losing. It's just those, and not in derbies as well, as you said last year. It was many times that I did fall to draws to lesser teams. Uh, that he just loses that bit of concentration. And I think that's why, in my opinion at least, it is very on the coach that the players do keep their mentality every single minute of the game. Of course, there are player mistakes, like you said, for the RSI, for example, game. Uh, but I can say it now with Mendilibar as well that the mentality, the winning mentality that Mendilibar has instilled on the players, that shows day in and day out, especially on someone like El Khabib, who just gives everything to find the goal. Even if we're up 3-1, even if we're up 2-1, even if we're up 2-0, It just keeps going and going. The players, the pressing, the high pressing doesn't stop. And I think that's something that Almeida does lack. And I think that's more or less what the comment is alluding to, that non-stop mentality isn't in Almeida's book necessarily, at least.
Okay, when we word it like that, I do get it, but I disagree, honestly, about the mentality part, not the fact that sometimes he can turn games around. Speaking of the Kostoulas and that there was a problem, maybe this will be there as well, but we'll see. We're still halfway through. The thing is with the mentality, especially this year, you have 25 or 26 players in the roster. I'm not very sure of the number. I think it's 26. You have 26 players that you need to keep their confidence up, their feeling that they can give something to the team with two competitions. You can't fit all these players in this competition, so you can't keep the mentality of all those players on their highest level.
How much?
That's
How
just
many
my
did you say?
opinion. 26.
32.
32. Even worse. Thank you for
According,
backing up my
according to
point.
Transfermarkt, at least.
Okay. We have the loans as well though. Zini and players like that are on loan. I don't know if they're on transfer market.
No, not here. Just the
Okay.
players that are playing.
32 okay, 32 clear players. We have 32 clear players for two competitions. So we have, and from these 32 players, we have 22 if we play two different starting 11s, and let's say with the subs, 25 players play at the best of cases, and 7 players are never playing, which we see. 7 players are never playing. Ljubicic, Gerasimos Mitoglou, Kostas Galanopoulos, they never play. How do you keep the confidence of these players up? You can't. You really can't. It's really hard, especially for Almeida, who doesn't have an assistant coach, because we saw what the first year he was here and won the double, that him and his assistant coach were an amazing duo. And I think that if Almeida had an assistant coach, he would help him see some things more clearly and maybe clear out his mind a bit. He has too many players to take care of right now on his own. So I think that especially right now, I'm not talking about last year, the mentality issue maybe comes to there are too many players. As we saw in reports the last days, Matthias has decided to break the team in two groups and train them separately. It is a way for him to manage the amount of players. For me, it is a bad technique. I said it to you that I don't like that technique. I don't think it will work.
And I
But
agree.
I,
I've seen it
yes,
myself.
yes. But it's not that I blame him for it. He can't see everyone. There are 32 players. He needs to keep track of them. He needs to know who plays better. He needs to do what he needs to know what to do with them. It is a very, very complicated situation, and I needs to get out of it by the end of January.
Again, honestly feels like Pedro's last year and the first year after Pedro all over again. Uh, but yeah, building off the negatives you did mention, I want to move on to another positive that Mendilibar has instilled into the team perfectly, and that's keeping it strictly coaching wise. The rotation he is slowly finding, of course, he has some set players because rotation isn't possible everywhere. And while we do have three competitions, yes, the rotation he's slowly finding to get minutes to the players that deserve minutes, to integrate players from the academy, which is a problem that AEK has and has always had, that there is a complete lack of academy. Uh, and to integrate players into the 11, to take them out, to have a second unit that more or less can cover the first unit, even if the depth of the squad let's not lie to ourselves, is in absolute shambles, uh, setting players out that don't deserve to be there. Mendilibar is as much as a coach, as much as a manager as he needs to be. And again, I think that's a thing Almeida lacks, the balance, because it's not necessarily one way or the other. It can gladly be both. And for the first time in a while, ever since Mendilibar came in, the players are playing for a coach. They are playing as a team and as a family. That's something that is costing you, at least in my opinion.
Okay, interesting take. I have a lot to say on that. I have a lot to say in general. I feel like I talked so much. Anyways, um, about Almeida, it is true that he sometimes confuses the role of the coach and the manager. In my opinion, we have some players that their egos are bigger than their height. Honestly, Martial, Lamela, Pereira, these players have an ego, and I think that other players that are not that big of a names have egos also, but we will never know, I guess. But especially Lamela. Lamela, we know he has an ego. We know it very well. Martial, we know he has an ego. They won't sit outside of the 20 picks of the coach. They won't withstand that. And I think that Almeida is trying to control that because he doesn't want to leave out some valuable footballers. Because let's put aside what Lamela and Martial have done for AEK right now. They are both very good footballers. Um, I think I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It's kind of confusing at this point. I think that he needs to make clear that you play well, you train well, you will earn your place at the starting 11. You don't do either of those, you will stay out. I do think though, because you mentioned that the players play for a coach in Olympiacos with Medilibar. I do believe that the players play for Matthias as well because so many players, all the players that came this year have said that they came to AEK because of Matthias Almeida and Matthias Almeida's project. I I do think that the players still believe in Matthias' project. It's what I've told you. I think he's lost in the amount of players and especially the amount of attacking midfielders he has. He doesn't know what to do with all of them.
The similarities are scary. Uh, this it just builds my point perfectly. That we have a squad and a coach that's been not just immersed in our culture, that's more interactive with the club than we've seen in so long. For example, one of the best examples that I can give is that Mendilibar not only attends arguably every basketball home game, but he's also been attending the games for the Erasitechni, for example, the volleyball game he's attended. He has amazing relations with Yorgos Barzokas. Uh, and it's not necessarily that they play for Mendilibar. It's that the connection that the players at Mendilibar have uh, is all for the cause of helping Olympiacos. And I do semi agree and semi disagree because, as you said, the squad is kind of in two groups at the moment. That I'll phrase it as that a lot of the higher ego players aren't really here to help the club. And phrasing wise, I will say it as the comment that they are kind of seeing it as a job and not a passion. Again, some players, not all of your players.
I mean, let's be honest, okay? Who thought that Martial would come to AEK in order to help the AEK club and be part of its history? Let's not make a fool of ourselves. Man has came back to get back in form and live for a bigger league. Um, he advertises our league. That's good. He advertises my club, which is good. But when I heard that Martial would come to AEK, I never thought that he would come here to help.
It's not
Um,
necessarily only Martial though that. Of course,
no,
he's looking for a
he's just
bigger
a
move.
very good example. He's a very good example.
And say that for the point of the moment, I'd say that, for example, Pereira, Lamella, uh, maybe at this point, even though he's been here for a while, even someone like Hadji Safi, like these types of players don't really, it feels like they don't really give a slight fuck and are here just for the paycheck at this point.
Even Gizmo disagrees with you. I heard him in the back.
I
Anyways,
think he's protesting for my point.
no, he's not. He's really not. Hear me out. As I said, both Lamela and especially Lamela and especially not Lamela, especially Tuku Pereira and Matthias have very good relationship. I do believe that Tuku came here to help Matthias, not the club as much. I won't say about the club, but he came here to help Matthias. Lamela, I think he's in kind of the same situation as Martial. He's trying to get back in form. I don't think to go like to a big club, but to end maybe his career somewhere respectfully. Um, and Hadji Safi, I've been telling you since the start of the season that this is his last year. He has given what he has given to AEK. He was our starting left back when we got double, and we thank him for that. But honestly, if we could say for people that are just here for the paycheck, there are people that are here for the paycheck and don't even play on Sunday. So, yeah, Hadji is here for the paycheck, but I don't
So
think
you
that
are
like
semi agreeing with the point.
I will say like I will mention the example of Steven Chuber. Steven Chuber hasn't played any games in the Super League this season, if I'm not mistaken, except if he played in the very start. He will leave eventually, I believe, at the end of the year. He's just sitting on his contract, training with the team, and I don't even blame him for it.
He's
He
played
has given
three
what.
games and he has a goal.
When did Chuber score?
Not the slightest clue.
Oh my god, that was so back in the start. I don't even remember. Anyways, he has 3 games. We are on match day what now? Match day, help me. Match day 12. Match day,
Let me see.
yes, I'm wait. As I was saying about Hadji Safi, he has given what he has given. I think that he connected with Ike in some way. He's been here for
It is match day
3
12.
years
Yes.
now. Okay, we're on match day 12. He has played 3 games. It's not a good percentage. I think he has some kind of emotion for the club. We made him a champion. We made him a cup winner. So I don't know. Maybe I'm too romantic about it, but I don't know. That's what I had to say. Ah, yes, Sophie, the 3-0, first game of the season, right?
Mhm.
Thank you, George.
But again, you yourself are kind of separating that some people are here for for the project that Almeida is presenting, and some people are here for the club that does kind of show some sort of separation, doesn't it?
It does, but in some way. But because of how much Matthias loves the club, because even if he ends up leaving at the end of the year, if he doesn't leave, even if he doesn't win anything, even if he wins the cup, even if he wins the league, I don't know. Matthias loves this club. He loves it so much. He loves it wholeheartedly, and he has done so much for this club. some people have short-term memory and don't remember how AEK was before Almeida. I remember, and it was not fun. So because of the love Almeida has for AEK, I think that he, um, how can I say it? He shares that love with the players he bring in for his project. So I think that some, not some, most of the players that come in because of Almeida believe in the oh my god, my English. In help me.
The project,
In the project of this club, yes, I would στους στόχους τέλος πάντων.
in the
Στους
direction, in the
στόχους.
goals of this club. Yeah,
In
yeah,
the
yeah.
goals, in the goals, yes.
I get it. I get it. But yeah, I think that's more or less all I wanted to touch on for the game. Do you want to focus on anything else specifically?
That I would appreciate if as AEK fans for once put our big small brain aside and like don't run to conclusions. And I think that the game against Aris is very critical for both Matthias and the club, the game on Saturday. And I think that he fully needs our support right now. He
Yeah,
does, he really does.
it's that Greek fan mindset that I keep mentioning for us as well, that the fans need to be behind the team even after bad runs of form, even after losses, and not just destroy the team. But yeah, thank you, of course, for being back on once again. We did go a solid hour once again, which is amazing. And I'm sure you'll be back on very soon again.
One last comment though before I go.
Yeah, of course.
Because you know it very well. I've seen too many coaches from this club.
Yeah, I know.
And you know how critical I was of some coaches. And I wasn't wrong when I was critical about them.
No, not necessarily, no.
Like, if you remember Yannikis, from the first day I said that this man needs to leave. From the first day I said, this man doesn't fit our ideology. And I think that if the chapter of Matias Almeida has officially closed for AEK, we'll see it in the 2 match days against Aris. The 2 match days against Aris will give all the answers. And I think that Eliopoulos and Ribalta and everyone else need to make the right choices. And
Depending on how it ends, yeah.
yes, and push this club towards the right direction, even if it's with Matias Almeida or without Matias Almeida.
Be behind your team, everyone. That's the main message.
Always.
Always.
AEK above all.
On my end,
AEK
do
above all
find
on an Olympiacos podcast, whatever.
on my end, do find everything you want about the show down below. Like, subscribe, follow, anything and everything. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.